Times are changing. You don't need to hire a huge team, a bunch of people to run a successful, profitable business anymore. Pretty much anyone can make their own one-person business, which is both profitable and scalable. I'm going to be laying out the system and the framework on how to do it. I myself have done it. I made up to around $20,000 before I started hiring anyone to help me with running my business. I am absolutely obsessed with the idea of doing things that are scalable. Why fix yourself to a per hour rate when you can start a business that has no limit on how much money you get paid per hour, and it makes money whilst you're sleeping? I've mentioned this a bunch of times on the channel before. Freedom is really what we all want, and having money, making money, having your own business and stuff, that is what can give you a lot of that freedom. First up is finding something that you can see yourself doing for years. Naturally, being a creator, making content and stuff online, I usually recommend others be creators too, but I do think a lot of people fall into this idea of thinking that to be a creator, you have to be making YouTube videos, you have to be sort of like on camera and doing stuff like that. No, you can be all different types of creators. I see lots of creators on Twitter, on Instagram, who never share their face and make products, make businesses, make software, just make all sorts of things. We've attached this creator label just to people who make content for Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and stuff. But no, I really do think you can be any type of creator. But at the same time, it's super important finding something that you can see yourself doing for years, maybe even decades, because I'll be honest, if you don't enjoy sitting behind a computer screen, this video probably won't be for you. I knew I wanted to make money online and enjoy doing an array of different things, so I did them all. I tried pretty much everything. But the key thing in common with all the things that I tried is that it involved creating and building stuff online. I learned how to do UI design, web development, art creation, photography, video, and just everything else in between. The whole point of me doing this stuff, trying this stuff out, was to earn more money, is to do something a bit more scalable so that I can enjoy my life more, so that I can have more free time. It gives me the freedom to set my own hours and pretty much work from wherever I want. And I bet that many of you that are watching this video are after exactly the same thing, the freedom to do pretty much whatever you want. So the first part of the system is finding your thing, finding the skill or the expertise that you have that you can monetize. Many people struggle with this. They don't really know what is their thing. And if you're that person, I've got some harsh truth to tell you. That means you have no hobbies, or you're just quite boring. Skills and expertise usually derive from hobbies and passions, being interested in something very specific. My hobbies when I was a child included things like photography and video. I was doing it for years before I started making content and sharing it online. I also absolutely loved tech and gadgets, so naturally I started sharing that passion on my tech channel, my tech YouTube channel. If you do already have a skill, a passion or hobby that you're quite good at, one of the best ways to make money and one of the easiest ways to make money from it is to build your own course. Courses are incredibly popular for a reason. People want to be able to quickly learn about a certain subject without having to trawl the internet for all of that information. I have my own two courses. I have videocreatorcourse.com, I have onlinecreatorcourse.com, and I created these courses simply due to the amount of requests I got from you guys. I'll be honest, I never really saw the value in courses. I just thought, what is the point of taking a course? But that was until I started speaking to people who actually bought them and took them. And it simply boils down to they want to learn something from someone who's already done it. If you are interested in making your own course like mine, Kajabi is one of the top platforms to go for. They're also sponsoring this video. As a creator, it's always a great move to expand your revenue streams, not only to make money, but also have more control. Kajabi isn't only designed for making courses, you can also use it to set up memberships, communities, sell digital products. It's the ultimate all-in-one platform that helps creators and entrepreneurs build successful businesses online by unlocking predictable recurring revenue. What's fantastic about Kajabi and why I'm going to be using it myself is for the marketing functionality. You can use it to build your own landing pages, automate emails, and have various different funnels. It combines everything all in one place. And the best part is Kajabi doesn't take a cut of your revenue because everything is owned and controlled by you. There is a 0% transaction fee, so you get to keep 100% of what you earn. You also don't need a huge audience to make sustainable income. There are thousands of creators on Kajabi making 6 or 7 figures with less than 50,000 followers. They even have a section on their website called Creator Stories, sharing stories of creators who are successful using Kajabi, real life stories. Right now, Kajabi is offering a 30-day free trial to start your own business if you go to kajabi.com/Olia. That's Kajabi.com/Olia. kajabi.com/Olia. Go to kajabi.com/Olia and join the creators and entrepreneurs who have made over $7 billion. Finding a problem. So another way to find your thing is to find a problem. Everyone has problems. It could be as simple as, how do I turn a spreadsheet into a PDF, or as complex as, I want to go into space. How do I build my own rocket? I think it's very important finding a problem that you think you can tackle, that you think that you can solve, because if you can solve it, other people are usually willing to spend money to also have that same issue solved for them. A problem I came across was that I had people messaging me on a regular basis asking, hey Olia, how do I make my videos look like yours? The problem for these people was that they didn't know what camera gear they needed, how to set the camera gear up, settings, color grading, editing, and everything else in between. So obviously I came up with a solution, which is videocreatorcourse.com. This simply compiles all of the knowledge and systems I already knew and spent years learning, just from sort of like trial and error really. To me, it was simple, because obviously setting up cameras, setting up lighting, all this sort of stuff, it's just almost second nature to me. But to others, it's not simple at all. They want to see someone else's process of solving this problem. It's why I've shared all of this in this course. It's a perfect example of, I found the problem and I came up with a solution.
Infiltrate the dealers, find the supply.
If you can make someone's life better in some way, that is just one of the most ideal ways to make money. The next step is to put together your solution. I found some people very much lack confidence here, or are sometimes overconfident. The main thing is that you just get started. It's so easy to build a website these days. There's so many different platforms to choose from. You make a website, even if it's half ready, put your product or service on there, and bam, you now have something you can share with potential customers or clients. Just don't fall into the trap of everything has to be perfect before launch, because boy, have I got news for you, it never will be. From my experience, running businesses, building businesses and stuff, there are so many problems you come across all the time that nothing really will ever be perfect. When you first start getting customers, you'd find issues that you hadn't even thought of. The main thing is though, that you solve them as you go. And that's a very important trait to have, not just as an entrepreneur, but for anyone, the trait of being a problem solver. If you can be a problem solver and like challenges, you'll beat most people in life. That's just a fact. So many people collapse as soon as something gets even a little bit difficult. If you're selling a product or service that's not scalable, make sure it's somewhat scalable. So if you're selling a product or service that's not scalable, it's definitely going to be much harder to work less to make more money. So choose very, very carefully. Look at the business you're building, look at the service you're selling, the products you're selling, and really figure out, is this something that's scalable? Because as we said earlier on in the video, you want freedom. You don't want to spend more time working, you want to spend less time working, but the idea is that you're getting paid more for that time. Great example of something scalable is digital products. Digital products and services are absolutely game changing when it comes to doing things that are scalable. You can sell a pretty much infinite amount of digital products. You remove a lot of the cost of making them. And then the only other ongoing cost really will be maintenance and marketing. Making content like I do is also hugely scalable. So for example, it might take me a day to make a video like this. This video might be seen by 1,000 people today. However, if I make good videos that build an audience and people like my content, in a year's time, that video might now be seen by 100,000 people. But my output hasn't changed. I'm still doing the same amount of work, but it's now being seen by 100 times more people. That also means I can charge sponsors more. That also means I can market my products more. It's just a hugely scalable business, and it really is just organic marketing. And it's why I really see sort of creating content, sharing content online, building an online brand, building an online business and stuff, just as a really easy, I mean, it's not easy, nothing is really easy, but it is a very hugely sort of scalable business. Very hugely, that doesn't make any sense, but I'm gonna leave it in. Something I used to do that wasn't hugely scalable without hiring people, but it's still definitely a one-person business that you can do, is client work. I have expertise in UI, UX design, and I was able to charge anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a day for my services. But the issue I came across with this business is that I'm still selling my time, and there's only so much of my time that I can actually sell. Now, there's nothing wrong with this business because it's actually what a lot of people still do now. I think it's a completely acceptable business, a very good one-person business. And it's a great way to make 10K a month fairly easily from pretty much anywhere, and it's why I love doing it at the time. So if you are someone who wants to start a one-person business and doesn't really care about making millions, but is happy to make 10-20 grand a month, you can easily do client work. You can easily sell services and make a very, very comfortable income. The next step is marketing. How do you go about marketing your products or services? So there are two main ways to market: organic and paid. Organic is of course much slower, but it is significantly cheaper and sometimes even free. Paid is of course paying someone like Google, Facebook and others to get yourself in front of lots of people very quickly. I found that every successful business does a good mix of both. Now of course I'll get the odd comment here and there saying it's easy for you to make money, you already have an audience. Yeah, no shit. Like I spent years building an audience, making stuff that people want, sharing content that people are interested in, and having loyal customers, loyal viewers, and loyal audience. And you never guess who does exactly the same. Every company ever. Like, you just can't sell anything without marketing of some sort. Expecting to make a product, put it up on a website, and then suddenly make money out of thin air is just the silliest expectation that I've ever seen. But I'm surprised at how many people seem to think this way. They just seem to think that you don't really need to market to make money. You can have the coolest, most helpful product ever, but if you can't market it, how will anyone know that it's the coolest and most helpful? Don't fall into the trap that marketing is bad. It's really not. Marketing, building a brand, building loyal audience, building loyal customers, these are really, really important and things that take time. It does not happen overnight. Being a one-person business also means being flexible, being able to pivot quickly to wherever the money is and to whatever is working. I first started doing web design for clients. I then pivoted to making website templates. I pivoted to making physical products. I pivoted to making online content. I pivoted to creating digital products. You can see there's a pattern here. I went into whatever I found interesting and wherever the money was. Another example of this, but on a much bigger scale, is KSI. He went from making gaming videos in his bedroom to then making music, to then being a boxer, and now he has his own drinks brand. And many celebrities do exactly the same. Actors and music artists pivot into all sorts of other businesses. They leverage their platform, the money they've made, and build other things. Now, of course, they have teams around them helping them do this sort of stuff, but at one point, they all started as a one-person business and were most likely a one-person business for a while. By the way, if you're interested, we've put together a tools and resources guide for running a one-person business. I'll leave a link to it down in the description below. It's like an ultimate toolkit for anyone who's interested in running their own one-person business. So yeah, when it really comes down to it, having your own one-person business, I really do think more people can do it than they realize. You've just got to take a skill or learn a new skill or something, or find a problem, have a solution. It's amazing. Like when I first started, I didn't really realize that I had a one-person business because I thought to myself like, oh, I'm making great money. I'm making $10,000, $20,000 a month. But then I realized making $10,000, $20,000 a month on your own without an employer or anything, through clients or digital products and stuff, that's incredible. Like that's such a great income to have, and you're doing everything yourself. You're learning all these different things yourself, but then at the same time you have the freedom to work whenever you like, make whatever products and services you like. And if you don't like selling a service and you realize, this isn't for me, no big deal, you pivot to something else. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and subscribe for more.